Good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our information session for 2026 Arts Camp for the York Region District School Board. My name is Brian Gerson. I am one of the very lucky co-directors for Arts Camp. I'll let Bahar introduce herself. Go ahead, Bahar.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Arts Camp CCIT night. It's wonderful to have you here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bahar Tarvati, as Brian said. I'm one of the co-directors. We are really happy that you're joining Arts Camp, and whether you're CIT or counselor, you have a huge role at camp, and you're making camp fun and safe for our campers. Thank you for being here, and we're looking forward to a great camp season together.
Ali, amazing.
I'm gonna pass, yeah.
Go ahead, Ali, just so I'll go into the slideshow.
Sure. All right. So as Brian and Bahar said, welcome. Thank you so much for being here tonight on this cold day. We're so glad that you're here. Our agenda for this evening is to provide you with an overview of what York Region Arts Camp is, give you additional information about the responsibilities and rewards of the counselor and CIT roles, to offer an opportunity for you to ask questions about the roles, the application process before you complete the application, and also just to share our excitement and kind of get ready for what's to come.
Thank you so much. So if you are one of our counselors or our CITs, you're going to be working with all of the staff who are working there. That means there's curriculum administrators, teachers, community artists, social workers, nurses, and et cetera throughout the week. But in particular, you're going to be you're going to be working with our leadership team, who we just want to quickly introduce right now. As you've seen, we have Bahar and Brian as our camp co-directors.
We also have, joining us this year, we have Jen Giffen, who is our camp operations coordinator, Karen Simpson, our evening programs lead, and Dave Bergerson is our program manager this year at Arts Camp.
And then there's myself and Ali. My name is John, and Ali introduced herself before. We are so lucky to be the leadership program coordinators, and we're going to be leading the rest of this night, just kind of talking about what you might be expecting as a counselor or a potential CIT for 2026.
Yeah, so just some reminders for today. So this evening is live streamed and recorded. The presentation will be posted on YouTube, so if you're not here with us right now, you'll be able to watch it at your leisure later on. Links to the slides and question form will appear at the bottom of the screen. You can scan that QR code or type in that URL. Our chat is off to ensure a positive environment for everyone and to prevent any unwanted disruptions. But any questions that you may have, you can send to us via Google form, and we will answer them to the best of our ability during this live stream tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, that information is going to continue to scroll below the screen. So if you missed it right there, don't worry. You'll catch it as it goes by again. So why are we here? So, after such a great time last year, it was Ali and myself's first time as leadership program coordinators. We are really looking forward to another amazing opportunity. And in order to make that happen, we need your help, the counselors and the CITs. So maybe you've been to Arts Camp before. Maybe you just enjoy taking on leadership roles at your school and outside the school. Maybe you're motivated to make sure that your Arts Camp experience and that you can make memorable experiences for yourself and the campers. No matter why you're here, we're so excited to see you and meet you, or even just see you again.
Perfect. And just to let everyone know, it seems like the QR code isn't working to scan. So just if you submit your questions via the bit.ly URL, that's going to be your best bet. So again, why are we here? We're here to support you on your leadership journey. The counselor and CIT positions are unique, and we are here to help you with that. One of our goals is to work collaboratively to reimagine Arts Camp, while also honoring the core values that have been created over the last 35 plus years of the program.
So our info night wouldn't be complete without talking about what is Arts Camp. Well, the York Region District School Board, the YRDSB Arts Camp, is an intensive 8-day immersive visual studio and performing arts program and experiences. And it's held every year at Camp White Pine in Haliburton. So at camp, you're going to be encouraged to discover and explore your identity through, supported risk-taking and positive collaboration with peers, staff artists, and camp leaders through an intensive and extended opportunities to explore and discover your new and creative talents. Arts Camp fosters rich opportunities to gain self-awareness, self-confidence, and a distinct identity while supporting your growth individually and potentially.
So I'm just going to go through a couple slides to show you some images from previous years at camp, show you a little bit about what we've got going on while we're away for the week. Some things that you might take part in along with being a counselor or CIT could be printmaking. We have a beautiful pottery barn. There's canoeing happening at camp. We have a lot of different activities that go on, jam speak, so songwriting. We have there a picture of our counselors from camp last year who were a wonderful team, and we hope that you're here listening because you'd like to join that team as well. We're lucky to be on a beautiful lake up in Haliburton at Camp White Pine. We have programming such as Artapalooza, painting, lots of different offerings for you to take part in. We have a performance night at the end of the week. We take part in team building. John and myself run the leadership programming. So if you are interested in a leadership position, you'll be spending a lot of time with the two of us. And we've got a lot of fun things going on during the week.
All right. So what are we looking for if you're applying to be a counselor or a CIT? We're looking for people who are committed to the full 8 days. It is really important that both our counselors and our CITs are going to be there for the entire length of camp in order for consistency's sake and the fact that you are the leaders in the cabins. It's really important that you're represented there. We're looking for people who are motivated to take on leadership roles. That can mean a whole bunch of different things, but because you're going to be working with a team, both your peers and your staff, you're going to be working with a counselor and a CIT together. You're going to be expected to be able to build relationships with those people around you. We're also looking for people who are reliable. And for us, that means right now that you must be able to attend both the mandatory pre-camp trainings and meetings and be able to complete phone calls to parents before camp happens, before even family information night happens, and also to be a positive role model even when the whirlwind of camp is happening. We're looking for enthusiastic people, people who are looking to be about creating a positive and inclusive camp experience. We're also looking for people who are willing to learn and try new things and grow, right? We're people who are applying for both being a counselor and a CIT are not necessarily fully formed leaders when they come. We want people who are willing to expand what they know and collaborate with other people and us, Ali and myself, to grow as a person. We're looking for people who are ready for responsibilities of leading a cabin, which means ensuring safety protocols are met, keeping your campers motivated, and ensuring them that they are punctual and that we are nurturing their growth throughout the week. We also are looking for people who are willing to adhere and promote all the YRDSB expectations and report on issues in a timely manner. And of course, that's why everyone's here. We're looking for people who are passionate about the arts.
So at the York Region District School Board, we have a commitment to equity. Eligible candidates should be willing to engage in learning around dismantling anti-Black racism and Indigenous education and equity. Together, we continue to strive to provide a camp environment that supports anti-oppression, promotes equity and inclusion, and provides identity-affirming spaces for deep learning.
All right. So as mentioned before, some of the responsibilities that we need you to be able to do are the pre-camp commitments. One of those is a counselor and CIT training day that is going to be on Sunday, April 19th between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. And that's going to be at Richmond Rose Public School. And then we also need all of our counselors and CITs to be able to attend the Family Information Night, which this year is Thursday, May 14th, between 6 and 8:30 p.m. at Richmond Green Secondary School. Of course, it says 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. But that's just when Family Information Night starts. So obviously, we would need a little bit more time commitment just before that time starts and a little bit after for cleanup as well.
So you might be wondering, how do we select our counselors in training? So we are looking for grade 9, 10, or 11 students. You can be a former YRDSB Arts camper or just a student who's never been to camp with a leadership interest or experiences in other camps. We're looking for students willing to learn and work as a team with a counselor and staff, co-leading, taking direction and initiative. And selection is based on number of eligible candidates and readiness as demonstrated through resume, interview, and references. So just keeping in mind that all applicants, including campers, will require 2 positive endorsements from one administrator and then one from a teacher. And if you are selected to go through the interview process for a counselor or CIT, you will be interviewed by a YRDSB Arts Camp staff member.
All right, and so what are we looking for when we're looking at counselors? Counselors, we are looking for students who are either in grade 11 or grade 12. Again, you could be a former arts camper, you could also be a former counselor, or even someone who has gone through the CIT program before, or just a student who's passionate about taking on leadership responsibilities and has leadership potential and or experiences outside of camp. We're looking for students who have a desire to mentor and nurture the next generation of artists and leaders. And we're also looking for people who are comfortable and ready to look after the well-being of, 10 campers and a CIT. Again, selections are based on a number of the number of eligible candidates and, of course, your readiness as demonstrated through your resume, your interview, and your references.
So why take on a leadership role at Arts Camp? So some things that we believe are a part of taking on the role is that you will have satisfaction in being an integral part of the artistic, social, and emotional growth in other human beings, other people at camp. In addition to the regular amazing camp experience, you get to spend part of the day with peers your own age on the same leadership journey as you. If you are selected for a CIT or counselor role, you have a reduced camp fee and free transportation. And all counselors and CITs must ride the bus with pickup and drop off in Aurora. There are occasional lights out activities to unwind and regroup via the director's discretion. There is unique leadership training where you can learn and foster your individual leadership style, which will be with John and I. You also have the possibility to gain references for scholarships and future employment. It's a resume building opportunity, and there is also the potential for community involvement hours for your pre-camp involvement and responsibilities.
So here are the logistics of your application. It's as you know, it's going to be the same application that the campers go through. So you have to be using your GAPS account to access the application. And this is for people who applied last year. It is the same process as previous. There is a section of the application where you are going to be checking off whether or not you're going to be applying for a counselor position or a CIT position in the camper application. So you're going to indicate your interest there. Once you've completed the application and the deadline is complete, I believe January 30th is when we are closing that, you're going to receive a confirmation email for your application. When you submit it, you're going to receive a confirmation email. If you do not get that confirmation email, do not complete a second application, please. Instead, reach out to the arts.camp@yrdsb.ca email so that we can troubleshoot and make sure that we have received your application.
So some tips for applying. There is a what you need to know document that will be linked. Preview the PDF of the application form before filling out the online application. You can always, plan what you're going to answer in your application form and have maybe someone else look over it. It also can ensure if you pre-plan that you don't lose your response due to timing out or other technical issues. because the application is a Google form. And just as John said, please apply using the same online application as campers. This will save a spot for you as well. Like, not only is the CIT application a part of that, but it also saves a spot for you in the camper lottery, regardless of attaining a counselor or CIT position, and allows you to indicate your interest in a leadership role.
All right, so when are applications due? So because it's part of the Camper application, that is going to close on Friday, January 30th at 11:59 p.m. It is an automatic closure, so if you missed the deadline, I'm sorry, we cannot accept applications beyond there. It is an online application form. You need to include a resume and your 2 references, 1 administrator and 1 teacher. And I know some of our people want us to reiterate, when you are putting in people's references, when you're typing in their names and their emails, please make sure you include the period or the dot that goes in between the names of your administrator or your teacher, so that it sends to the correct person and it's in a correct email.
So next steps are, when will you find out? You are probably like, I'm going to apply. When will I know? So if you submit an application and do not receive information regarding an interview by February 2nd, please email us at arts.camp@yrdsb.ca. We will have interviews taking place at the beginning of February. So after February 2nd, if you haven't heard about an interview, please let us know as quickly as possible so that we can figure that out for you. And then once we do the interview process, offers will be sent out soon after. So please make sure you are checking your GAPS email, because that is where the information will go. We will be contacting you at your GAPS email. So please make sure you are checking it and being diligent about that.
All right. That brings us to our question and answer period. I know there's a bit of a delay while people might be typing questions into it, but I know our directors would like to mention just something about the application process. So if Brian or Bahar want to go ahead and speak about that right now.
Sure, I guess I'll go. I'll mention it. It's one of the beauties of being in a wilderness area is that so that there's such a diverse community that comes to Arts Camp. We are fully aware that that there is a holiday, a religious holiday or celebration that's taking place during the days of Arts Camp. If this is somebody, if you are somebody that will be celebrating Eid al-Adha during the week of Arts Camp, please do consider applying to be a counselor CIT. We want to make sure that you are aware that there are lots of accommodations in place to support anybody celebrating, and your desire to celebrate your holiday will not preclude you from being considered as a counselor or a CIT.
Thank you, Brian. I also just wanted to mention that if anyone watching was having issues with the Google form and sending in a question, you can try again. We realized that it was a little glitchy, so we've fixed that on our end. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send them our way at this point.
Awesome. So we've got if you look at the banner there, we've got a question there. It says, what kind of experience makes you qualified for the role of counselor or CIT? So both Ali and I mentioned when we're looking for, when we're speaking about what we're looking for people who have sort of like leadership experience, or who are people who are looking to explore and build their leadership skills. So things, if you're looking at like what are relevant things that you can include on your resume or your application, anything that might have the sort of camp like environment, and you're having responsibilities that would deal with taking care of or being responsible for other students or younger people, that would be a good that would be a qualification that we would be looking for people who are applying for counselors or CITs. Is there anything else you might want to add, Ali?
Yeah, I could say as well, if you take part in any clubs at school, maybe you're on student council or arts council or best buddies, whatever you might take part of or take part in at school, that counts as well. Maybe you babysat, maybe you have a part-time job. Really anything. We're just looking for any experience that might be relevant. And if you don't have that, don't allow it to make you feel like you can't apply, because this might be your first experience. So definitely consider all different things that you take part in.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, just before we move on to the next question, if you don't necessarily have, as Ali was saying, if you don't have that sort of experience that you can write down on a piece of paper, the interview is also a place where you can kind of share what type of leader you might be and the types of leadership skills that you might have that you are looking to develop or even just have practice in, and then you can share that information during the interview process as well.
How many campers would be assigned to a CIT counselor pair? So typically in a cabin, we have approximately 10 campers assigned to each pair. That could be 10 grade 7s. It could be a mix. It could be 10 grade 10s, depending on your interest and your age and also who applies.
All right, we have another question here. It says, is there anything I should prepare myself for when it comes to interviews? Absolutely. Speaking as someone who maybe doesn't interview so well, practicing answering publicly, to peers or even to family members, just answering questions and practicing thinking about what are the things that you want to highlight in an answer is good. As a good preparation for it. They are a virtual interview, so it is something where you are going to be sitting in front of a screen. So just being comfortable speaking to people and making yourself understood and well spoken during sort of a formal interview process is something you can prepare for as well.
Yeah. What are some questions I can be prepared to answer in an interview? So when you come to your interview, there will be 2 staff members typically asking you questions. And some things that you might be asked would be your experience that pertains to the leadership position. We might ask why you're interested in the role. We also might give you scenarios and ask what you would do in that situation. So for example, if you have a camper who has never been away from home and they're super homesick, how will you support them? A question that I know we asked a lot last year was what's your own self-care and how will you maintain your own support system while you're at camp? We are looking for people not only interested in supporting the well-being of our campers, but that understand that they're there for the experience too and know that we're there to support them. John, I don't know if you have any other examples?
No, but just to add on to what Ali was saying, it certainly makes sense. We're looking for people who, if a question, we are asking questions to find out more about you and your ability to make decisions under pressure or just your ability to collaborate and work with other people. So those are the types of questions we would be asking in this interview. If you think about the role itself as a counselor or a CIT, and think about what sort of problems or things that might come up in that, if you've been away at camp before or if you are a previous arts camper, then you can kind of draw on those sort of experiences that think about how would I approach some sort of situation. That those are some good practices and thought experiments that you can kind of go through. Okay, this one says, what is the format of the interviews and how long are they? So as we said before, it is a virtual interview. So when you get information, you're going to get, I believe you're going to get some choices on when you can sign up for a time slot. The interview is going to be between 10 and 15 minutes. I would say closer to 10 minutes. So we are going to be going through a lot of interviews in a specific amount of time. And so think about being able to answer all the questions within your time limit. So think about being concise and making sure you're answering the question that we are giving you there.
And I think, John, just to add to that, think about if you're given 10 minutes to promote yourself, what is going to be the one or two items that you really want us to remember when considering you for a position of CIT or counselor?
Yeah, it's a really good point. Thank you, Brian.
Will there be practice questions like last year for the interview? Yes. Yes, definitely. We would never have you come in with no preparation. We also want you to succeed, so we will be providing example questions, practice questions similar to last year, and we will share them in the email sent to you when you get your interview information. So you'll have a couple days to prepare.
All right. This question says, do we pick our counselor and CIT partners? Not so much as you get a specific like, hey, I would like to work with this person. But when the leadership team is thinking about who do we pair up with counselors and CITs, we're looking for people who we think would make a good pair, a good leadership team to lead a cabin. So when you're when you're interacting with other people, and when you're at our counselor and CIT training, you can sort of have an influence in the way that you do like kind of pick your partner, and just like showing us who you work well with, or like who not like who you want to spend the entire time with, because we're going to be looking beyond that. But just showing what your strengths are and how you might be working with and in tandem with other people. So in short answer, no.
I'm pretty shy and quiet. Can I still be a CIT? Yes, absolutely. There's no one way to be a counselor or CIT. We want everyone to be different from each other. You might have a cabin where your campers have never been away from home and they need someone shy and quiet to support them. Or you might have people who have a lot of energy and that matches you. I think that in order for our team to be successful, we need people with all different personalities. I was very shy and I got picked as a CIT when I was first a CIT. And now I'm less shy, which helped me for sure. But yes, don't feel like that's an obstacle. We want all different kinds of people with all different personalities, and they're all welcomed and encouraged.
Are grade 11s the only grade that is allowed to apply for CIT and counselor? Yes. Just because of the way that we are structuring the cabins, we always want to make sure that there is an age seniority difference in terms of who is the counselor in the cabin, and just so that there feels like there is a very specific person who people can turn to in the cabin. And in order to make that happen, because of the varied ages between the grade 7s and grade 12s, we want to make sure that all of our counselors are either in grade 11 or in grade 12. You might have a CIT who is also in grade 11. That is not precluded by that. But yes, we will only make sure that the grade 11s and grade 12s are counselors.
If I'm a CIT or counselor, do I have to be with my campers all day? Do I get breaks, time to myself, and/or time to hang out with friends? So the first part of that question, do you have to be with your campers all day? The answer is no. As a counselor or CIT, you still take part in the programming of camp. Your responsibilities, I would say, lie more in evening programming and nighttime. That being said, we still look at you as a leader in your programs, but you still get to partake in programming just like the campers do. So you might have some of your campers in your, say, painting class or in your dance class. But you are not with that one group all day. You move around the same way campers do to different programming. CITs have a 2 hour program.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
2 hour, 15-minute program specific to CITs, where you'll only be with the other CITs, which will be with John and myself. Counselors will have their workshop specific to counselors, also with John and myself. But every other part of that day, you are in your own programming. You do sit with your cabin at meal times, and you do take part in evening programming and nighttime routines with your cabin. Similar to everyone else, you get breaks and time to yourself during rest hour. You can take that time to yourself. You can have a nap, read a book, go to the beach, do whatever you need to do, or hang out with your friends. But your designated time in your cabin is meal times, morning routine before breakfast, and then evening program and nighttime.
And maybe just to add to what Ali had said about the responsibilities, one of the really nice pieces about being in an immersive environment like camp is that even though you might be on your break time, you might see one of your campers or friends of a camper wandering around, or maybe sitting by themselves. These break times are a really great opportunity to continue building community and really inviting people to join, whether it be just hanging out, relaxing at the beach, or whether it be listening to the jam sessions that are going on outside the dining hall. Lots of really great opportunities to build community.
Thank you so much, Brian. Is there a likely chance that there will be 2 CITs and 1 counselor per cabin? I don't want to say that is going to be the normal for all of our cabins. I think it has to do with the numbers of students who apply for both positions, so the CITs and the counselors, and ultimately how many campers that we take at camp. I think the normal would be 1 CIT, 1 counselor per cabin, but there may be a situation where we feel that the numbers warrant that we want to keep some specific candidates in our program, and wherever we end up putting them just happens to be 2 CITs and 1 counselor in a cabin.
If you get selected, how many hours would that count for in total for 40 hours community involvement? The hours come from your pre-camp involvement. So that includes our training day, our family information night. And in the past, we have provided about 20 community involvement hours to our counselor and CITs.
What grades would I be able to be a CIT for? And will my campers be significantly younger than me, or is there a possibility that they could be in the same grade or / a grade younger? So our CITs we are asking for applicants to be in either grade 9, 10, or 11, which means that all of our cabins will have a mix of students from either grade 7, like if you think about in the past 7s and 8s, and then once we get to the higher grades, there might be some 9 and 10 cabins, or depending on the numbers, a mix of like 10 and 11, or 11 and 12, or 10, 11 and 12. It honestly has to do with the makeup of the students who are applying and who are accepted to camp, who make it through the lottery. But in terms of because your leadership team is the ones who are deciding who is going and who's going to be in charge of which cabin, we are very conscious and aware of some of these age differences that might occur, and we want to help you and assist you in your responsibilities by putting you in a position of in a positive position. And sometimes that might mean being in a role where you are usually older than the students who would be in your cabin. And so sometimes that does help our CITs and our counselors to just have someone to look to in the cabin because they are just older in age. But depending on maturity, depending on what we see, and maybe even just a pairing that we think would work really well, that doesn't necessarily mean you are guaranteed to be older than everyone else in the cabin. And it also just depends on the numbers.
The question is, if someone stutters a lot, is it better for them to be a camper rather than CIT? Does it ruin their chances for their CIT application? The short answer to that is that it does not ruin your chances at all. And it is not better to be a camper than a CIT. We are here to support you if you need, and everyone is welcome to apply. And there isn't one thing versus another that would ruin your chance for your CIT application. So please don't let that deter you from applying. And everyone is welcome to apply.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, like, we know that we're talking a lot about the role and the responsibilities as someone who's going to be sort of in charge of things, and that for a lot of people you might be considering and thinking about that role as someone who's going to have to speak a lot, and maybe that makes you anxious or nervous, and then you might be wondering if that is the right role for you. But I mean, hopefully Ali and I are going to be highlighting in our program that leadership isn't just about speaking. There's so much communication that is done through nonverbal means, and being a role model for the people around you. And so there are different styles of leadership that we want to highlight in the program, and we want to encourage in everyone who is applying and who are going to be who are looking to be better leaders. So please do not let that be something that makes you think, I don't want to be a CIT.
And to add to everything, all the wonderful things both John and Ali have already said, it's really important to know that because we're going to be putting you into leader positions of responsibility, but that's also not to say that you're going to be alone in those positions of responsibility. There's going to be lots of training, lots of support, lots of problem solving, lots of people you could reach out to. Lots of opportunity to ask questions, everything that's going to help you feel most successful, both leading up to the week of Arts Camp, during the week, and then hopefully feeling a sense of empowerment and abilities after you leave camp.
Yeah, and agreed. Everyone, please. We hope that this has answered some of your questions. If you have any questions after this ends, please email them to arts.camp@yrdsb.ca, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. If you apply for a leadership position at Arts Camp, it's the same deadline for applications, January 30th, and those interviews will take place after school hours, the first week of February. I think it's like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the first week of February. So know that once you apply, remember, if you don't hear from us by February 2nd, please email arts.camp@yrdsb.ca, and we will be in touch. But thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you learned something.
Yeah, thanks again from myself. Thank you for joining. We're so glad that so many of you are watching and have had interest in our Counselors and CIT program at Arts Camp this year.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.